Since 2021, I'm a CNRS researcher based in the Dynamique, the langage lab in Lyon, and also closely affiliated with the NS Bioacoustics Research Lab in Saint-Étienne. I did my graduate studies in Canada, where I grew up, and already since then my research has focused on vocal communication in animals, and this includes the human animal. I'm interested in everything from the neural and the anatomical mechanisms that drive vocal production and perception, to how our voices develop across the lifespan, and critically, to the evolutionary origins and the adaptive social functions of vocal communication. In other words, I study what our voices say about us and why. And this really requires an interdisciplinary and comparative approach. So we take tools from multiple disciplines, such as bioacoustics, psychology, ethology, computer sciences, linguistics, and more. Le mieux, c'est que je vous montre. Typically, we begin by studying the vocal signal itself, whether nonverbal vocalizations like laughter and screams, or long trains of spontaneous speech. And we can record the voices in an acoustic chamber where we have excellent experimental control, or in the real world. And this really allows us to maximize the ecological validity of our observations. It's important to stress that it's not what the person is saying that interests us, it's how they say it. In other words, we're interested in the underlying non-linguistic component of the voice. Acoustic analysis software then enables us to measure many vocal parameters, such as fundamental frequency, which is the voice pitch, formant frequencies, which are resonances of the vocal tract, and also nonlinear acoustic phenomena, which give vocalizations their sort of rough and harsh quality. Our work shows that these vocal parameters alone can encode an incredible amount of information about the speaker. For example, resonances reliably indicate a person's height, voice pitch predicts testosterone levels, dominance, and even reproductive success, whereas vocal harshness communicates arousal and distress. Beyond advancing fundamental knowledge, these kinds of findings have really important practical applications, for example in medicine or for AI voice recognition systems. Thanks to the lab's cutting-edge technologies, and in particular the SoundGen software that was developed by my colleague Andrei Anikin, we can now recreate entirely synthetic yet really realistic voice stimuli, such as this synthetic roar. This allows us to experimentally test how specific vocal parameters causally affect listeners' responses. For example, this participant is listening to childbirth vocalizations, where we've synthetically manipulated the levels of roughness. We find that the rougher the vocalizations, the more painful they're perceived to be, and also the stronger the physiological stress response of the listener. Our research is profoundly comparative. We lead a parallel line of research on other terrestrial mammals, and this has led my colleagues and I, most notably David Ribi, to uncover the evolutionary relevance of human voice modulation and, in particular, vocal deception. We humans can so easily control our voices for social benefit. We can laugh at a joke that's not funny, or we can voluntarily lower our voice pitch to sound more dominant. Other primates just can't easily do this. For David and I, these astonishing abilities represent something like a living fossil of our early vocal control abilities that may have ultimately paved the way for human speech. My research excites and fascinates me because it offers a lens into the past. Our voices don't fossilize, yet we can still reconstruct the evolutionary history of our species by piecing together evidence from different disciplines, cultures, and species. I've been really fortunate to travel to some very remote and exotic places in my fieldwork, and it fascinates me that across cultures, people everywhere learn to modulate their voices, and not just to acquire language, but also as a sort of social tool that they use to navigate complex situations and relationships. And at the same time, it's really hard to ignore just how similar, with the exception of vocal control, our non-linguistic vocal communication system is to that of other mammals.